Well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good after wonderful noon to you, one and all. We are apologizing for coming on an hour late or later due to the fact that we did not want to try and rush into a session right after I got done with physical therapy. So today and tomorrow, will both be at 1 o'clock. I'm going to look at my schedule to see how, excuse me, I need to schedule um, the snapshots. And we want to just let Nancy, Ayana, Tamika, and thank y'all so much for being a part of the time adjustment. And we just wanted to make sure that we were able to have the time necessary to get home and to make sure that everything was in order. So that's the reason that we pushed it back. And I know for some, you were able to watch it like during your lunch period and different things like that. So again, there's some adjustments that just needed to be made. Okay, Cora, Sharon, Wendy. Good afternoon. Thank you for sharing, Cora. And so we wanted to make sure that we were at would be at least to be able to come on for the next couple of days, and then we're going to. Hey, Tony, how you doing? That's my daughter. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Had therapy today. They're real happy with me. So the Lord is good, Tony. I'm trying to tell you, He's good. Now I still have pain. I still have issues. They tore up that scar tissue. And then there's just one side that has to be dealt with, but I'm doing great. Okay. Um, my daughter is making sure that her daddy is doing what he needs to do, and I love and appreciate her for that. And so that's the reason why we moved it back to 1 o'clock to make it just a little bit easier on me in doing so. Kathy, how are you? Yeah, matter of fact, I'm getting ready to order more water because I don't have enough. And y'all know this is day two of our 40-day fast, and I've got some things that I'm going to order to make sure that I have and be able to go from there. I'm moving all of my equipment and stuff to the basement that I need for my therapy while I'm at home because I got to use the bike and the other machines that I have downstairs. The Rains family from DC, thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. Okay. Minister Faye, Carolyn, bless you. Carolyn, did you get that phone straightened out? Well, obviously you did because you're on here. I don't know if you're on your phone or your tablet, but we're just grateful to God that you're able to be with us live and in color. Barbara, how are you? Okay. Minister Marcia, bless your heart. I'm looking well, but now looks are deceiving, but I'm happy. Let me tell you something. Um, Come a long way. My therapists are overwhelmingly happy with the results. And it's funny, you have conversations with people in the waiting room. There were people, y'all ready for this? There were people in the waiting room that are still going through therapy who had their procedures done in August and September. So you know what that did? That shut me straight up because I'm 7 weeks in and I'm doing better than most. Matter of fact, I was encouraging another gentleman in the waiting room. He looked at me. He said, "You look like you've been through this before." I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Let me tell you, I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly what you are feeling." I said, "But I'm telling you, there's something better on the other side of this." And he said, "You don't know how much I appreciate that. Because you know what? When you go through things in life, you're just not going through just to go through. But what you're doing is you're going through so you can be an encouragement to someone who is at that particular time." And so, my friend John Fitzhugh, thank you so much for being here with us. Okay. Ella May, how are you? Grateful to God for you, one and all. And so, out of everything that happens in life, it's a learning experience. Okay. And that learning experience is designed so that you can encourage, hey, Rita, how are you? That you can encourage someone else. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to sound a little harsh, but out of all of the pain that we all experience, let's quit complaining about it, because there's somebody that's going to come our way somewhere along the line, and you'll be able to let them know, I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly how depressive and how difficult it is, but let me tell you, there is something better on the other side. So I can't run yet. I can't do that. But guess what? I'm giving this my best shot. So I'm doing what need to be done. Hey, Debbie, how are you? I'm doing what I need to do, so that I can bounce back and be better than ever before. I'm believing God for it. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't go through my moments. That does not mean that I didn't get angry or upset or even some levels of depression. It doesn't mean that that didn't happen. It did. But when you know who you are, whose you are, and how God will send other people. Because see, you listen to somebody who has been where you are, and it just helps. You know, theory doesn't mean much when people are going through all kinds of changes. Factual actuality experiences are the ones that can transform people's life. Okay, you see, it doesn't. Ooh, excuse me, but I'm grateful to God for that. Listen, I'm going to finish up First Samuel chapter 3, because I want to do that. And then when we come together, I'm going to continue to press forward. But there were some things that I wanted to touch on. There's a couple of, hey, Sherry, how are you? The Lovelace of the Cameron. Good to have you here with us. Tell Daryl we said hello. Um, and so the foundation that I'm trying to establish before we begin to build upon the promises of God. And I said this in the past couple of snapshots. Not everybody is going to survive this. Not everybody will be applicable to this, because you have to understand that God and his principles and his promises are guaranteed to those who are obedient to him. That are, and I'm not saying, hey, Jaleesa, how are you? I'm not saying that you had to be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But flagrant um, inconsistency and disobedience. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? God's not going to give promises into the hands of people who have not shown themselves faithful. I did not say perfect. I said faithful. Hey, Katrina, how are you? And that's the thing that many of us must remember. Many times we fall short of enveloping ourselves or developing ourselves or actually receiving everything that God has in store for us, because we believe we're supposed to be perfect. Clarissa, how are you? Are you hearing what I'm saying? He just wants you to be faithful. Even if you fall down, recognize who picks you up. Take it from somebody who has just been there. He will pick you up. But in order for him to pick you up, Valerie, you got to want to be picked up. And if you're wallowing in the pies of despair and feeling sorry for yourself and don't nobody love me, don't nobody care nothing about me, ain't nobody trying to see about me. Hey, Sonia, how are you? You best remember, God ain't going to drop a promise on you because you're not even faithful where you are. If you're faithful over a few, I'll make you ruler over many. That's a powerful principle that many people are not able to. I was reading. Oh God, I was reading. I can't think of what I was reading because I've been able to read so much in the midst of this. Tell Dad we said hello, Valerie. Um, the issue that many of us fall short on is we will execute our own selves over a mistake that has happened in our life that we actually don't believe God will forgive us of. And so what happens is, because we don't believe God will forgive us, then we don't forgive ourselves. I saw that video, and I know I'm sidetracking a little bit, but I saw that video of, and I'm not being critical of that pastor, because hey, Denise, that pastor has to answer to God for what he does. I'm not going to be critical. I'm not going to say he's out of order. I'm not going to do that. But the only thing that bothered me about that video is the fact that they paraded that young girl up in front of that congregation and made her confess her sin. Now, the problem I have with it is it should have been a couple up there. In order for her to get pregnant, she had to have a male partner. See, this is where sometimes we do stuff to people. And what we fail to recognize, if we're going to do it and we call ourselves doing it God's way, then it needs to be an equal opportunity. The boy should have been up there too. Did you hear what I said? The boy should have been up there too. The young man, whoever it was that she was sleeping with, should have been up there too. Problem I have with number two, you're going to confess your sins before people who are still sinning. I'm about done with this now, because this has a lot to do with 1 Samuel chapter 3. Eli can't do anything because he can't control his boys. His boys' sexual appetite is so out of control that they don't care who they do it to or when they do it or anything else. They would use the women for their own sexual pleasure, and they didn't care. And the daddy, who was the priest, let them do it. And so God said, I got to bring this to an end because I need to raise, here we go. I need to raise up another generation who will follow me. And so in the midst of this, because he wouldn't do it, judgment now falls not just on Eli, but on the people as well. I said this before, and I need to say it again. No matter how wicked a nation becomes, very much like this one, no matter how obstinate, no matter how hypocritical, no matter how self-consumed a nation can become, God always has a remnant who will follow him and lead those who have been arbitrarily snatched into the sinful natures of their leadership, and provide somebody who will show them what God can really do. Now, let me talk about this. When you looked at the text with me and he said, Samuel, Samuel, he called him twice, and the Lord spoke to him and said what he was going to do to Eli and the family and everything. The Bible says that Samuel was afraid. Hey, Don, how are you? That he was afraid to tell Eli everything that God had said for fear of retribution for telling the truth. And so Eli said, don't you hold anything back from me. You tell me everything. And Eli and Samuel spilled it out. But if you look at the rest of the text, because I'm running out of time, if you look at the rest of the text, you will see that God, here we go, makes a promise to Samuel that he would raise him up as a powerful prophet before the people. Now, you got to remember, Minister Sarah, you got to remember at this particular time, Samuel really is just now becoming acquainted with the God he's been serving, and neither he or Eli actually really know who they're dealing with. But God speaks a prophetic utterance into Samuel that he manifests later in his life. Now, let me talk about this, because you'll hear me say this all the time. Delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. Samuel had to go through the process of preparation in order for him to be a prophetic prophet. We got all of these people who want to pop up and be prophets, but they haven't gone through anything. They haven't experienced anything. They really haven't gone through the dirge of what it takes to become a real prophet. Samuel goes through this where he has to tell his mentor everything that the Lord has said. But God says to him, I'm going to raise you up. He says, I'm going to be so powerful in you, Samuel, that whenever the word of who I am and what I tell you to speak comes out of your mouth, it'll never fall to the ground. Now, in case y'all don't know what that means every single word that comes out of Samuel's prophetic mouth will fall in the ears of the hearer. There will not be one word that comes out of his mouth that will fail in manifestation. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Did you catch that? Every time he stands up to speak, the anointing of the word in him is so powerful that whenever he speaks it, it don't fall to the ground. It doesn't fall on deaf ears. Every ear has a hunger to hear the truth, because if you remember earlier in chapter 3, okay, Wendy, the word was rare in those days. But when the word becomes powerfully preeminent, because you got to remember, just because the word was rare doesn't mean the word wasn't wanted. Jeez, okay. I gotta stop. I done ran over. I'm a minute over. I gotta get y'all to get this. I gotta get y'all to get this. Okay. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it wasn't. People, the reason that people are following some of the stupid and asinine stuff that's out here right now is because they're hungry for a real word from God. They no longer need entertainment. They need a real revelatory word that will transform their lives and make them into what God has preordained for them to be. The people were hungry for the word, but it was rare because it didn't have a vessel that would be willing to speak it. I gotta go. I done kept y'all too long. I'm 2 minutes over. Listen, when we come back tomorrow, we're going to start delving down in some things, looking at some things. We're going to take our time, go through what we need to go through, because again, this coincides with what I'm going to be preaching on Sunday morning. Okay. And I'm not done with John 3:16. I'm going back to John 3:16 because I got to tell y'all and help y'all to understand what's love got to do with it. Y'all got to understand that hey, Sandra, how are you? Okay. You got to remember that there's a motive behind someone who is qualified to give. Woo! Lord have mercy. Because everybody who says they got something to give ain't really qualified to give. Listen, I love y'all with the love of Jesus, who is the Christ. Y'all have a listen, y'all. Listen, there's a storm coming. It's going to be pretty bad. Whatever running around you got to do, you better do it now, because all this snow that's going to show up between Friday and Saturday. But my thing is, no matter how much snow, y'all make sure that y'all pray that these folk get out here and plow these streets so people can go to church. Oh, bless his holy name. Love y'all with the love of Jesus Christ. May God bless you. May he keep you. That's our prayer.